Hello everybody, my name's Chris Ward and I'm one of the product managers for the control product business. So in this next example I'm going to be focusing on the 3RW55 soft starter. We're going to be having a look at one of the functions which is in there called start time monitor. So start time monitoring is a condition monitoring function. So based on the reaction or how the motor starter's performing, there will be a reaction based on the limitations which we set and observe to prevent damage to the motor. So the idea is that the soft starter can now review its own data and then it can base its reaction based on the information which it's seen in terms of the motor's performance. So in terms of the start monitor, that effectively allows you to review any overshoot or undershoot on the motor's starting time. So an overshoot could indicate that there's perhaps slight motor overloading, and when that occurs, it produces excessive heat on the motor. So that can cause motor failures. It can have an impact on the windings and the bearings. So it's a really good idea to use this function specifically on the overshoot, but also on the undershoot as well. You know, if you've got a motor which is underloaded, that can, and it goes under 50% of the loading. That's a really significant amount, and that can really affect the energy efficiency of the induction motor. So it's a really cool feature to utilize, and I'm going to show you how to use that now. So if we go into the soft starter, drop that menu down, go into parameter sets, let's close this window down, go into soft starters, parameter sets, condition monitoring, start time monitoring. We can close this window down a little bit to gain a further description. So as you can see here across the top, we've got our function start time monitoring. How do we use that? Well, let's have a little look here. We've got a preset starting time, we've got an upper limit, and we've got a lower limit, and those both can deviate from 0 to 400% on the upper limit, and then on the lower limit it's 0 to 100%. And then also we have a preset starting time, so that's the ideal time we want it to start in. So say for example, if it's a pump application and it's 35 kilowatts, we'd expect that to start within say 8 seconds. So we'll put a preset starting time of 8 seconds in there, and then we would be responsible for putting in a starting time upper limit. So of that 8 seconds, what's the percentage which we would deem excessive of an overshoot? And that can be from 0 to 400%. So an excessive amount would be say 200%, so twice the amount of that 8 would be 16 seconds. So 16 seconds would be a fairly large overshoot, and that could indicate that your system is slightly overloaded. And what that would do is, because it's a maintenance demand, it would provide a pop-up on the HMI which would signify that the motor's acting untoward, and it would bring it to the attention of the engineer that's offering the start and stop commands on the HMI. Further to that, we've also got a lower limit which we can utilize. So the lower limits for your undershoot, that can range from 0 to 50 to 100%. But as I said before, typically if you have a motor which is undershot to say anything below 50% really, the motor isn't acting efficiently, and it can cause you costs on running costs, but it can also affect the motor and the application as well. So we'll monitor that as well. Again, that's a maintenance demand. So with a maintenance demand, what that'll do is if that threshold is breached, it will then pop up on the HMI to signify that there's been an error, and there's been a threshold breach on the start time monitoring, and that'll indicate to an engineer that perhaps they need to come out and have a look at that to see why the system is undershooting or why the system is overshooting. So it's a great feature to utilize, and once you've really finely tuned these preset values, you can then download that into the soft starter and test it out. So I really hope you found the video useful on how to use that function. And please stay tuned for more of my videos demonstrating the functionality of the TIA Portal Soft Starter ES. Thanks very much.